The summer transfer market for Man United started really slowly, but the Red Devils did well to secure the services of a Netherlands international from Ajax Amsterdam for £39.3 million. The youngster arrives at Old Trafford with his talent touting him for big things in the future. Indeed, Donny van der Beek has been one of the most consistent young midfielders in Europe for 3 years and played a huge role in guiding Ajax to the semi-final of the Champions League during the 2018-19 season. Van der Beek's signing is a great signal of intent from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side as they look to turn the clock and guide the club back to the glory days under the guidance of Sir Alex Ferguson. And with the young Dutchman in the squad, the club has another creative player who can score and supply goals in equal measure. Being a product of the excellent Ajax Academy and then spending another 5 seasons in the first team, Van der Beek is practically a polished player and would not require a lot of coaching in all honesty. The youngster's first touch is superb, his ability to turn quickly makes him an asset during transitions, and his ability to hold on to possession makes him quite a unique prospect. In 135 appearances in the Eredivisie and the Champions League, the youngster managed to score 33 goals and set up 27, which is clearly a sign of an all-action player who loves to stay involved in games. But the one thing that truly sets him apart from a lot of midfielders is his ability to make late runs, full of drive and intent, into the box and then finishing things off with his right foot. The youngster's ability to find space is uncanny, and so you can understand how excited the likes of Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes will be, knowing that they can form quite the telepathic connection with a really talented young player who's still developing at the moment. When we talk about the club signing Van der Beek, we're talking about a player who can fill in quite a few roles, which makes his signing quite interesting. Last season in the Champions League, Donny van der Beek was deployed as a central attacking midfielder, secondary striker, central midfielder, and even spent a few minutes playing as a defensive midfielder. But it was in the 2018-19 Champions League campaign where the 23-year-old thrived in the role of a central attacking midfielder or as a secondary striker. The youngster was crucial final. He did pretty well as a central attacking midfielder in a 4-2-3-1 role. The Dutchman can easily play on the right of a midfield too, but that might have an impact on how he helps the team out in defence. While he is technically gifted, especially when in possession, Van der Beek chooses not to be extravagant and has a rather practical way of doing things. You'll rarely find the Dutchman being over-elaborative, which bodes really well for the manager since this player is rarely going to disrupt the flow of the game. Moreover, the youngster is really great at making quick combinations in and around the penalty area, which is something you find very rare in a midfielder. But that's not even it. Donny van der Beek is also an equally perfect player when it comes to performing rather menial and less glamorous tasks in midfield. The youngster's height would have you think that he shouldn't be very dynamic or technically neat. But he's also great at putting in hard-working shifts to help the defence by tracking back, making it hard for opponents to keep possession and cutting down passing lanes. A true leader in the making. For several months, Solskjaer has spoken about how the club needed a cultural reboot. The Norwegian tactician has taken quite a lot of leaves out of Sir Alex Ferguson's book and is trying to implement a positive environment within the dressing room. A lot of transfer targets are identified on whether a player's character suits the collective or not. Perhaps this is why United have taken their time when it comes to signing players. Solskjaer simply doesn't want to pay over the odds for any player, and neither does he want Ed Woodward to offer players the sort of salaries that create divisions in the dressing room. Alexis Sanchez's case is a prime example of this. The Chilean was given a mega contract, and it really impacted the team's morale. The former Barcelona man's wages didn't justify his performances on the pitch, and naturally led to many players asking themselves why they weren't making the same numbers that the January signing was making. This isn't happening anymore. Solskjaer wants players to come to Old Trafford to win and not to just collect a hefty weekly salary. And in Donny van der Beek, the United boss might have hit the jackpot. It didn't take the club long to secure a move for the youngster, who was more than happy with the personal terms on offer. As a case study, what example can be better than that of Bruno Fernandes? The Portugal international was signed after a rather long and arduous negotiation. However, once the midfielder arrived, United's performances improved drastically. It was as if Fernandes' arrival had awoken something in the club that had been in slumber for eons. The Fernandes effect was visible in every game. United were playing attacking football and the January signing performing as if he'd been at the club all his life. Bruno Fernandes simply understood what it meant to be a Man United player and knew what he needed to do in order to make others around him play better. The end result was a great run to the semi-final of the Europa League and the third-place finish in the Premier League, which as a consequence sealed a return to Champions League football for the 2020-21 campaign. In a similar vein, Van der Beek is likely to have a similar impact. Still only 23, the Dutchman has worn the captain's armband quite a few times already, and his body language clearly shows how supportive he is towards his teammates. While mostly such details get ignored, these are the things that matter a lot at a deeper level. Today, scouts and recruitment officials put great emphasis on player personality, since it is what makes a great athlete. And Donny van der Beek, to put it in simple words, ticks all these boxes. The youngster's energy levels never go down, regardless of how his team's performing. The youngster leads by example and never gives up no matter how tough the situation is. This is exactly why he's eventually going to become a leader in the dressing room if he continues playing and acting the way he does. A lot of people have been wondering how Van der Beek will be able to coexist with Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. However, what we need to realise is that every top team needs to have great depth in their squads. Man United don't really have a lot of depth, and options coming from the bench aren't too great. Perhaps the Red Devils could have secured Champions League football way sooner than it happened if they had influential options coming from the bench. With Van der Beek around, you can be assured that both Pogba and Fernandes are going to get enough time to rest and recharge. Moreover, it could also be that Solskjaer doesn't want to be too reliant on Paul Pogba, who's heading towards free agency if he doesn't sign a new contract. The club is preparing for the future, and signings like Donny van der Beek prove that there is a willingness from within to go back to basics. For Solskjaer, team culture is important above anything else, and signings such as Bruno Fernandes and Van der Beek are going to play a crucial role in helping the club get better, both on and off the field. The current Manchester United team is a very talented one. In fact, this team is playing the sort of football that kind of reminds us of the glory days under Sir Alex. However, the squad is definitely not the best out there. A lot of options are desperately needed so that the Red Devils can compete on multiple fronts without breaking their stride, just like they used to back in those days. Midfield has generally been a problem, and with the likes of Pogba, Fernandes and now Van der Beek, creativity shouldn't be a huge issue. Down the right flank, Manchester United are reportedly not giving up on the Jadon Sancho trail. Borussia Dortmund are holding out for what they feel is the fair market value for their star player. However, chances are that the deal might eventually go through, even if it happens in the last hour of the transfer window, and if that doesn't happen, Man United are already lining up other options. But coming back to Donny van der Beek and what makes him so good, it's the fact that the youngster arrives at Old Trafford after completing his apprenticeship in Amsterdam. You'd be hard-pressed to see Ajax selling a player who's rough around the edges. The club's academy and first team ensures that players wearing their colours are the finished product, so one could hope that this is the case with the 23-year-old. Blessed with great technique, great off-the-ball movement, and the ability to play neat 1-2 passes, Donny van der Beek is the sort of player who could potentially make fans weak at the knees. And this bodes well for a club that's slowly starting to experience a revival under a manager who's seen the best of Man United as a player. Want to know how we never miss a match? With Fubo TV, you can stream any game, anytime, anywhere. Use our link in the description to start for free and watch your favourite teams live.